Ahoy Explorers, I'm Nia and this is entry number 18. Today I have a very special guest, Ken, my best friend. He actually got me a really cool bottle we're gonna try out today. One Drop. He brought it all the way from Harbor Island, Bahamas. So stay tuned. We actually had a really cool Zoom call with Toby Tyler, the master blender for One Drop. So check it out right here.
I've done 4 rums for One Drop Rum, and so I do a white, a gold, and the dark, the 10-year-old, as you see. Most of them, I really don't talk about the source where I got them from. I work with a guy that has a lot of juice. He's been collecting rum since the early 2000s, and he has 2 big warehouses. And so I've just started working with him the last 5 years. But with the One Drop, getting back to One Drop, that's the youngest rum in that blend is 10-year-old. It's 100% Jamaican juice. And a lot of people that taste it or just get the nose of it, they know it's Jamaican. You can tell by the nose it's Jamaican. I didn't make it really heavy funk like the Jamaicans do. And so it's a little bit lighter than your big, aged Jamaican rums. But the 5-year-old I do is not, it's American. It's American distilled rum, which has been aged out. If you go on the website, you can see the gold is a 5-year-old, and the juice is really good. So I'm always looking at what juice I can get to put in a blend.
Right. And then you're bottling this in Harbor Island?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's painstakingly. It takes a time. I've got the labels here. We ship the bottles in and that. But I can't tell you too much at the moment. We've just sold, or we're just talking to a group in New York. We've just signed off on contracts to launch in the US.
Oh, outstanding. That would make it easier to get my hands on.
Instead of flying to the Bahamas to pick one bottle up.
Honestly, for me, that I'm going to be a little bit unbiased because I'm already a huge fan of Afrohead.
Oh,
you've
good.
done with them because we used to work together at the
Once upon a time. Yeah.
Once upon a time. I was actually able to get Afrohead that was distilled and processed in Harbor Island maybe like 5 years ago.
Right.
And I could tell the difference between the Afrohead that was made there and the Afrohead we found here in like the US.
Yeah, I saw a bottle of Afrohead here again this week at one of the stores, and I'm looking at it and go, because I made the Afrohead rum from 2007 till about 2017. And again, I started hand bottling Afrohead rum here on Harbor Island. So the same process as One Drop started, the same way here, we'd ship the drums in, hand bottle with hand pumps and hand label. So
that's amazing. So I know the name comes from Bob Marley's song. So you're a Bob Marley fan?
No, it actually didn't. There's a long story to that. It wasn't a Bob Marley song. Someone made a suggestion of that, but there's a long story to that, but it wasn't a Bob Marley song. There's also a song here in the Bahamas called One Drop, and there's a whole bunch of things. So someone mentioned that in an interview, and I said, well, I don't know about that.
Oh, no?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
It wasn't. Yeah. But it's a bit like, Afrohead, people have all these different ideas of how it all started and all that. And it's like, I get asked questions. I go, no, that's not how it was. It's,
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. No, not you. But over the years, I've been asked things and saying, no, that's not right. This is how it started, and this is how I did it, and this is why. And, I think things get lost in translation.
Yeah, they do.
Sometimes.
Actually, you have like a lot of history.
Your own origin story is getting away from you.
Yeah, no, it's been a great, it's been great, and I've got a whole bunch of things that haven't made it to market, which I really, really like.
Did you have any particular goal with One Drop? Based out of Harbor Island, it's unusual. For me, I'm a rum fan, but I had until Nia told me about One Drop in the Bahamas, I had not heard of it. So for me, it became a bit of a scavenger hunt, which was fun. But at the same token, it's like Harbor Island's producing rum. When did this happen?
Yeah, we never. There's no distillery here. Never produced rum here. It's always been I've always hand bottled, I live here, I've been here 25 years, and the new business partners for One Drop also live here. So the three of us were sitting in the kitchen, after I'd had my fallout with Afrohead Rum, and they said, "What are you going to do?" And I go, "I don't know, blah, blah, blah." But I was working on this project, which was a Jamaican rum. I was working on a blend. I was getting for a company called Dean and DeLuca, and they were asking me, could I do a signature blend for them to put under their private label? And they said, it's got to be 100% Jamaican juice. So I started going down the path, finding what juice I could get, getting samples and going, okay, I know what flavor profile I want to create with it, and started down that path. And Dean and DeLuca had some changes in the work, so they put everything on the back burner. And I was sitting on this great blend, which was a One Drop 10-year-old. And friends were sitting in the kitchen one day and said, well, look, this is my old company. And, I got a brand name. And I said, well, I got a rum. And we just sort of married it. And this is 2 blocks from where I live. We're sitting in their kitchen. And yeah, so it sort of started very grassroots again. So the whole thing is like, great, okay, let's buy a few drums, buy the bottles. I was very deliberate about the bottle shape I wanted. I wanted the broader shoulder bottle shape and the thicker, heavier glass. And the label was basically done. We just had to add rum, Harbour Island, because everything was done here except distilled here. And I've never, ever claimed any product I've made has been distilled in Harbour Island. So again, I'll tell you where it comes from and all that sort of thing, but never here. But it's always been about when I get close to a blend, I go and sit with the chemical engineer, and we refine it to what I want in my vision for the blend to be. And that's all it's about, I blended some rums from 4 to 5-year-old and I've gone, wow, that's really, really good. But what's the point of putting a 4 to 5-year-old if you've got a 7-year-old that's doing really well? You know what I mean? It's, right. It really comes down to having the time to fine tune and the quality of distillate you can get your hands on.
So that's going to be a question I had about the bottling process itself. Do you find, since you're doing it in Harbour Island and everything's being shipped in, being generally familiar with Harbour Island and the rest of the Bahamas, do you find it difficult to actually import and bottle there at Harbour, or has it been easier than you thought? What's the latest as far as supply lines go?
Supply line's fine. I've got no problem with the supply chain, anything here. The bottles have been an issue, but I got a stash here. Nice. But of the 10-year-old and the 5-year-old and the white rum. So I've had no problems there, but
And just to confirm, the rums were aged in oak barrels. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. It's all aged in oak. I did do a blend here called Cactus and Cane. Did you ever hear of that?
Yeah, I see. That was in tequila barrels, right?
Yeah, we finished them in tequila barrels, and it was a nightmare.
Why?
Because I think people in the early stages thought, we just rum and tequila, put it together, stirred it up and put it in a bottle. It was no, it was properly aged out in tequila barrels. And, they're a little bit wet, but they weren't heavily wet, which meant there was really no tequila in the barrels. We can't use the tequila brand name, the barrel name, or anything where they came from. So we sat some 6 to 7-year-old rum in it, and every 2 weeks it would get checked. And it got to a point, and it was like we were 6 or 7 months in, and I'm going, it's just not happening. And we're trialing different proofs and that. It just wasn't cutting it. Like the rum wasn't standing out, the tequila wasn't standing out. It was just like fighting with each other. And in the end, we just let it age out a few more months. And I woke up one morning, it was like, I know what the problem is. It's not hot enough. So I called my chemist who was working in the lab with it, and I said, hey, push it to 101 or 102 proof. Let's really push and see where it goes from there. If we've got to push it higher, we will. If we've got to pull it back, we can. So we were running at about 86 proof, and he said, you sure? And I said, that was in my dream. I'm positive. And that's true. I sort of woke up and I went, okay, it's got to be higher proof. So we got it. He pushed it to 102, sent me the sample, and I went, that's it. It just hit it right proof. And it doesn't cut it. It just needs to be pushed harder because it's not a really nice marriage where you can age rum in a whiskey barrel or, or any ex-bourbon barrels or anything like that, cognac barrels. And it works. But the marriage between tequila and rum is a fight. There was a great review that was done by, what was it, Caribbean Journal, a guy called Alex Bertel, and he said it was the it was the dance, the rum tequila dance. They gave it a great review. He said, when you get it, you get it. It's amazing. So that's real fun. And we only did, I don't even remember how many bottles, about 300. So there's only one 55-gallon drum. So we did about 250 bottles or whatever. Sold out. And I thought, okay, as soon as it sold out, everyone's going, where is it? How do we get it? We want more. Why aren't you telling me this when I've only sold 20 bottles? But Greycliff bought like 5 or 6 cases. It really started when people got it and understood it. It was like, yeah, okay, this is going to be great. So we may do that in the next 12 months again as a limited edition. So with the new One Drop, we're going to do a yearly release of limited editions. We'll probably do more than 250 bottles at a time.
So that would be a bottle to keep an eye out if it's limited edition,
yeah, if that
right?
comes out, I'll
on
this trip for that, yeah.
Well, if you're a tequila drinker, it really, you like your really añejo tequilas, it really, really works well. Miami really showed me that, people are actually open to experimenting with brown spirits. It doesn't matter what, if they're trying a lot of the older rums, the big branded names, there's a lot of sweetness in there. But mine didn't have a lot of sweetness if you have any of the Afrohead 15. So there's a whole lot of that. And same with you'll try the One Drop. Have you tried that yet, Nia?
No, I haven't. No.
Right. You'll see it's not overly sweet, and you'll get the Jamaican nose and a Jamaican middle palate. So we launched in late 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And late 2018, we won an award in a competition of 200 rums. One Drop won that. So that got posted. And we're going, how do we even get in this show? How do we get in this tasting? Someone picked a bottle up from Greycliff and took it back to Miami and entered it in this competition. We had no idea. So then that came out, and so 2019, I received 4 contacts because it was already on the internet. And I didn't even know. And it said, my name was put on it. So people who knew me from days before contacted me. So all of a sudden there was a buzz on One Drop, what's new? When's it coming? How do we get it? How do we get in the US? It was like, oh my God. So by the end of 2019, we were talking to distributors, talking to a couple of agents, et cetera. And then, so if COVID hadn't happened, it might have been easier if you just got in a local store near.
Yeah.
It might have been there a year ago. But I love talking about it because it's been a great ride, great journey. I love doing it. I love doing what I'm doing. And it's, anyway.
How does it feel now by comparison? Like 2006 when no one was doing it versus what you're facing now?
Yeah, well, I think people were doing it back then, but it just wasn't prominent. Everyone was drinking their big, heavily dosed, more sugar forward rums, let's say, more sweeter than that, which is fine. But now it's definitely drastic changes. All these people they've taken it upon themselves to be the rum police and say, you can't use sugar unless you put it on the label. You can't use this unless you put it on the label. Look, I'm the good one here. Here's my rums. And this, so it's still about, people self-promoting themselves and trying to dictate in a way. It sounds a bit heavy, but it is like, I wouldn't mention names, but it's like, relax. Let people drink what they want to drink. Let people make what they want to make, If I choose to make a rum with no sugars, great. So there's more to it. You've got to find the right blends and balances and how you want to present it in the bottle. But if I want to add some sugar to the cactus and cane, which I did, it wasn't a lot, it was a small dose, but it just took the edge off, which made it much more approachable.
Right, and obviously it worked out. Your bottle's vanished overnight, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, and it's great. And I don't care, if someone said, oh, you added sugar, how much? And I said, I tell them this much. Compared to what everyone else has added, it was a touch, the least possible I could do. And I was working with my chemist on this. I'm saying the least possible. We just got to cut that edge, that aged tequila, the añejo with this aged, 7 or 8 year old rum. It wasn't marrying them. But when we pushed the proof and just added that little bit of sugars on the edge, it was like, okay, that's it. Don't breathe, don't touch it, don't move. That's it. So Yeah, I think it'll be a challenge to get the volume up on that, but that's why you do limited editions. You know, you don't do, 20,000 bottle limited edition. You do 1,000 to 2,000 bottles.
Yeah, it's like a passion for it, which is what it takes to do kind of like a small batch or anything that's detail oriented. It's not like you're Sam Adams pumping out millions of bottles a minute.
Yeah, here's your formula and you just run with it.
Yeah, it's run with it.
But no, well, small batch you have a lot more control over. And at the end of the day, you said it, small batch is meant to be small batch, and you have control over, blending small batches together.
I'm looking forward to this bottle.
Yeah, me too.
I've been holding on to it for like 3 weeks now, so yeah.
Well, try it neat. All the rums I blend to drink neat.
Okay.
Hopefully I can get some white rum to you and the 5-year-old, and you'll see. Then, put a piece of ice in it, try it like that. Then my main go-to is ginger ale or tonic water.
Okay.
People say tonic water and rum, and I go tonic water or ginger ale and a wedge of lemon, not lime. Lemon's a softer citrus. Yeah, I prefer the lemon in it. So ginger ale, not ginger beer, ginger ale.
Ginger ale,
Yeah.
okay.
Tonic water. Trust me, you try it and you go, oh, it's much lighter. They're lighter sort of mixes to add on top. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you just answered my 2 questions.
Yeah, there you go.
Those were my last 2 questions I was going to ask you, just to make sure we make something you could recommend. But I'm excited.
Well, it also works. People are using it at one. Have you heard of Pink Sands
Yes.
on Harper Island? Yeah. Well, Pink Sands Resort here, they're my biggest client at the moment, and they have a rum old fashioned using the One Drop 10-year-old.
Okay.
And that's their biggest selling drink on their cocktail list. It's a rum old fashioned.
Yeah, that's what we were planning on doing today.
Yeah, we had that,
a smoky
lined up.
rum old fashioned.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, look, what I would do is let me know how you go with those the old fashions if you like it.
Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed everything that Toby had to, tell us about this rum and his history. I so appreciate him taking time out of his busy weekend to just give us such an amazing chat. So, do the honors.
All right. So, this bottle of One Drop Rum, picked it up from the Bahamas, as Nia said. And having talked to Toby, we've got an interesting idea of what to expect from this guy. Want me to just go ahead and tear it open?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
You do the honors.
Yeah, they say it's a wax sealed bottle, so if you happen to get your hands on one of these, a knife might be recommended. You might get away without it. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not.
You're the,
Oh, hang on. We're there. All right.
For that sweet sound, listen up. Okay.
Right. So
this is 5 and 10-year-old
age.
hot and column stilled rums blended by Toby.
So you win.
When?
All right.
And these are supposed to be Jamaican rums, so he said we are gonna get a little bit of that funkiness. It's a rum agricole, but he said he blended it perfectly so it's still nice and smooth and not too funky.
Cheers.
So the nose first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's different.
Yeah. That's really different.
I'm looking for an adjective to describe it. It's very. I don't want to say woody because it's not quite that, but it's as Toby described to us, this is very much a Jamaican rum. You're getting that feeling out of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sip it.
But there is some sweetness in there.
Yeah, I'm getting a touch of that. Although
There's like agricole, there's like the funkiness of the Jamaican rums, but there's definitely some sweetness in there.
I'm going for it.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad. Very smooth finish. That's not bad.
And a little bit of a hug. I did get a lot of smokiness on the upper part of
just
my
on that
nose,
initial
which
hit.
I love.
Yeah. As described to us by the blender, this is meant to be consumed meat, so it's a good opener.
I didn't expect that from a Jamaican rum. Like, you get the funkiness, but there's also some sweetness there. And the taste, I love the initial smokiness you get on the top of your palate.
We're definitely getting that. It's a smooth finish. I can taste. I'm not entirely sure how Jamaican rum is distilled or stored, but I'm getting barrel taste.
Yeah.
So you can smell the alcohol coming off. I know it's only 80. What is it? What's the proof on this thing?
This is 86 proof, by the way.
86 proof. Yeah.
But honestly, the hug or burn is there, but not.
I'm not getting it. I'm not feeling any kind of burn going
I
down.
did a little bit on
So-
like my throat,
Yeah.
and just a little, not too bad. But it's very, very, very unique.
That's not bad.
I really like
I
this.
do like it a lot. You know. And as he described it, he's doing this in his own kitchen type labs in like his house and his friends' houses. So, and for that kind of thing, you know, and being a guy from Kentucky and having had some fun with bathtub gin, this is great. This is fantastic.
Right?
I like it a lot. Really like it a lot.
And I love that there's a lot of elements there. It's not a simple rum. Even to the nose, you get some oakiness, you get a little bit of the agricole, you get a little bit of sweetness too.
I definitely get the sweetness. It kind of lingers. Like
Yeah.
It finishes off with sweet. It's not like I've had some other rums that just absolutely like they'll hammer you, and then on the finishing end, it's a continuing reminder that yeah, you drank rum and there was a lot of alcohol in it. This is not that. This is very sit down on a back porch, smooth kind of rum.
So should we add some ice to this?
I think so. Why not?
Besides, 2 is perfect.
Two's perfect.
The color, as you can see, it's a very light amber. There's no crazy sediments or anything to it, so I'm assuming they probably filter this.
I can only assume there's nothing lingering in this
Yeah.
bottle. It's just
And
it's
the bottle is
perfect.
very hefty. Okay, so now, how did you find this bottle?